Hello, this is Nora, and today's podcast is presented with sympathy in my heart to anyone who is listening and have lost someone near and dear to them. I have lost my father in 2017, and it was not easy at all. My dear friend recently lost her mom, and I sympathize with every single emotion and thought she's experiencing at the moment. But I did this podcast to share some of my thoughts about dealing with grief. When we lose someone dear to us, we get hit with a tornado of emotions. Some of us might spend a good time in denial. As a result, being angry would be an easier emotion to express than just grieving. But what needs to happen is you need to allow yourself to grieve. How? By allowing yourself to experience it, allowing yourself to go through grief, and allowing yourself to cry. It has a lot to do with you having to dive into your emotions. Allow yourself to see what's there for you. I always recommend journaling, especially when you have a hard time knowing what is wrong with you, because we're so funny about our emotions and we compartmentalize them. We even hide them from ourselves. I hide my emotions from myself a lot of times. I have to ask myself, Nora, what is going on? And journaling is one of the tools that I use to do so, and that's a good one for many. So, the first thing you want to do is sit down and get to the bottom of what you are feeling. So, write out what you are feeling. Write what it is really going on inside of you, how you feel about the death, what tripped you about the death. Was it missing them? Or is it the feeling like they did not get a chance to see something, or you wanted to say goodbye, or whatever it is that tripped you up? You need to get to that and figure that out. You need to allow yourself to cry. That's the other piece. If you have tears coming up as you are writing or as you're going through this process, please let it happen. Grieving is something that people feel like they want to stay away from because we do not want it to lead us into a depression. But grieving is absolutely necessary for our emotional health. You have to release the hurt that's inside of you from the death, the hurt that's inside of you from whatever story you have around the death as well. We always have a story going on around death. First of all, it's the fact that they died. That's hard in itself. Then we have a story. We did not get to say goodbye. That's a very common story I hear from a lot of people. Or the special person that you have lost never got to see you graduate. They never got to see your child. They never get to see something that you wanted them to see. Or. We always have those stories going on. When we have to look at the story, we have to look at the death. We have to grieve the loss. We have to release it because the person that you lost is fine. The person is actually in a better place. But depending upon the spiritual system that you are working with, when we die, we don't. We generally go to what I would call a better place. Truthfully, they should be grieving us because we are the ones that are left here and stuck. But the thing that you want to do, you want to figure out how you feel about that aspect of it, and you have to release them. You have to let go, but first you have to grieve. Allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to deal with your own emotions. If you do not reconcile your own emotions, they're not going to go anywhere. They will sit inside of you and they will turn into ulcers. They're going to turn into other issues. So best thing to do is just to deal with it head on. Some really do not like emotions. We do not like dealing with our own emotions, but when it comes to something like this, you really should try your best to allow yourself to cry and deal with the pain. And after you have released all the pain, released all the hurt, I would say no more than 7 days. Do not grieve very long. Grieving is a process. Some people will take more than 7 days. I'm just giving you a benchmark to figure out, because it might take you maybe 2 weeks, but I do not want you to stay stuck in grief. You want to release the grief and you want to move on to being happy for this person, releasing their soul, knowing that they are watching over you, that they are in a better place. You want to go to the positive aspect, and you cannot go to the positive aspect while you are holding on to the grief. Grieving process is to release. So let yourself grieve, let yourself see what emotions are there, and then allow yourself to go to the next process. It also takes some ritual energy too. For example, for me, it took me going to my father's tombstone and leaving flowers, letting him know that I miss him, and I am there with him. It is something I needed to do, because when somebody passes over, do something in their honor, like planting a tree or a flower or feeding others or charity. This will help you get closure. Their body isn't here anymore. So it's kind of like being in a relationship that's over and you have to get closure from it. And that part of the grieving process, allowing the feeling that comes up and getting some kind of closure, doing something in their honor, will help in the closure process. So I always like to plant flowers. You can do something along those lines, or maybe something that they like to do when they were here. A grieving process is not easy. It's not easy. I know it's not easy, but like I said, grief does not go anywhere. You have to release it, you have to accept it, you have to go through it. You have to actively work to release it. And if you find yourself in a situation where none of this is working for you and you cannot let go of it, you need to see a grief counselor. There are people who are specialized in this, and they specialize in helping you move through grief from death. I know your special person is somewhere watching over you, hoping that you are able to release your grief, hoping that you are able to be happy again. And they always want to see you happy. And the only one that can make you happy during this process is you. Okay? I really hope this helps. Be gentle with yourself, stay safe, and just take it one day at a time. Thank you for listening.